Divine greetings, beautiful kings and queens, friends and family from all over the world. I am so happy to be here with you today. I am Queen Aline, and I am joined today by my beautiful sister, Queen Noa, Gaia Lakshmi. Yay! And we are here for this very powerful episode of the Revolution podcast. This has become a regular ongoing conversation because we have had some powerful, juicy conversations that we feel is really important to share with you to help you on your revolutionary journey, right? Of letting go of addictions, of loving yourself more, healing the trauma, overcoming challenges that you have in your life. Queen Noa has such incredible experiences in her own life. She has gone through the darkness and come to the light, come to her space of self-love, and she helps other people as well through the path of cellular regeneration, through detoxification, through yoga, breath work, really the path of love, the path of God and higher consciousness. She has a beautiful foundation and community also in Facebook, so please check it out if you're not part of this community. It's called From Purification to Liberation, the Soteria Foundation, whose mission is really to bring light in our world, to bring peace in our world, and to all humankind. Beautiful sister, you do amazing work in this world. I am so grateful for you. You are an amazing friend to me, and your light shines so, so bright. I have been learning so much from you, and so grateful to be able to have these conversations with you. Thank you. And today will be, yes.
Pleasure and honor. Yes.
Thank you. So are we live from your group already or no? Yes? Okay, let me join that. We're doing a double whammy today. We're going live in, perfect. Okay, let me join this one as well. There we go.
Okay,
awesome.
perfect.
Praise the technology. Give thanks for all these incredible things that we get to do together and play from different parts of the world. Hello, beautiful community.
This is great. This is really great.
So whoever wants to see us 2 times, join from your computer, you can see us in one place, and from your phone, you can see us in another place. So we are streaming live as well from Queen Noa's beautiful community. Welcome, community. Purification to Liberation. Thank you so much for having me here and having me here. We're just having fun, baby.
Awesome. Hello, Darius just joined us. And Aline, have you shared this in your group, or you still need to do that?
Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to have to, let me go in my other page here. Good. Thank you for reminding me. Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for joining us and for your patience as we get set up.
And give me just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Yes. I can't seem to be able to share it in another group. I don't know. It's not letting me share in the Revolution for some reason.
Huh.
So it's okay. I will share it after. No worries. I'm just happy I was even able to get on StreamYard today. It was giving me some trouble. I wasn't able to even access my StreamYard. So
yeah, well, I'm on like double earphones here. Okay, fantastic.
Let me know on the live on Facebook if you can hear the sound from the live, because I can't also bring it down to a volume.
I can hear it fine.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Let's get this party started. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, we apologize for the delay, all in perfect timing. I guess it was meant to be at 2 p.m., 12 p.m. for me.
Exactly. Well, I've been working really hard with my beautiful tribe on what we have to offer this summertime. So we have been vibing, we have been energized, so excited to be offering, a really beautiful space of healing for those who want to come and learn more about this fruitarian lifestyle, eating more fruit, have fun in a community. So we've been busy at work, play and work. That's what Noah's all about being in the flow and teaching me how to do that as well, being in that surrender space, being in that allowing space. And it's totally changed my life, right? The divine feminine way of doing things. It's like we used to be in this more masculine way of thinking, even us women, right? In this like, gotta go to school, gotta get a career, gotta make the money, get married. Like that's a very masculine way of doing things, of just like this falling into this, how to say, flow, like it's not even a flow of life, it's like you must like these falling into these expectations that we have of ourselves. And we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, coming from a Middle Eastern family myself. It was very important for my family for me to go to university, get married, have babies at a certain time, and I just did the total opposite of that. And there was a lot of confusion of like, why isn't she just like walking this path? Why isn't she doing what she's supposed to be doing? Like, this is not what she's supposed to be doing. And so it's been a journey of loving myself through that, and loving myself through my differences, through my neurodivergence, and understanding that certain things were just not meant to be for me. And I followed my intuition, every step of the way, even if it led me down a path that some may deem dangerous or not very orthodox, meaning the drugs, the alcohol, the eating disorders. Like on some level, I feel like I didn't choose it. And on another level, I'm like, oh, I 100% chose that. Like I'm very conscious that I chose this path for my soul enlightenment, for my soul elevation, to go through that set of challenges and struggles through that. So let's talk a little bit about that. Today we're talking about hungry for love. I'm sure that evokes a lot of emotions for a lot of people that are watching. For me, it brought up a little bit the work of like Gabor Mate, in the realm of the hungry ghosts, like hungry for love. When we reach for that bag of chips, when we reach for that candy, that chocolate bar, get those like cravings for that fast food, what is it that we're really hungry for? So that's what we're going to explore a little bit more today. Let's touch a little bit about that, Queen Noa. How did this even title come about in our conversation? Why did we find it was so important to talk about this?
Yeah, well, we were chatting yesterday about different things, and it's very much related to what you just shared about the particular journey that you had in life and the particular path that you chose, and that you didn't have a calling to go about your life in the quote unquote traditional way, or in the way that you were expected to go. And this is where we can get trapped or live a life that is actually based on someone else's expectations, if it's family, if it's society. And even what you shared at the beginning, like this whole masculine approach to life, is something that we were born into, and that we've been, both men and women, and we've been conditioned to believe that is the way to do life, and any other way may seem to be weird, or there's something wrong with you. And so what happens is, when we talk about fulfillment, because this is at the core of what we'll be discussing today, like being really filled from the inside. It's not just food. It's not, there's so many different things that we are nourished by. And one of the most important thing is to actually be truly fulfilled, which only comes from following our own innate intuition and what we feel is the right thing. And it sounds like a cliche, but it truly is like follow your joy. So if there's no calling in someone's heart to go to university and get married when they're 29 and have 3 kids and 2 dogs and like the whole shebang, but they still do it because that's the expectation and they don't want to disappoint their family, or the fear of, well, what are my friends going to think about me? Like here, everybody's getting married and getting degrees, and I'm this like hippie doing, eating fruits and whatever. And some can stay in their lane and really follow their truth, but many people don't. Many people just kind of go about life in the way that we've been conditioned to live life, and not being truly fulfilled. I mean, even relationships, like people actually like get married because that's the expectation, and then they realize like that wasn't really the person that I felt was the person I wanted to do life with, but everybody told me I had to get married when I was 25, so I got married, and I had the kids. And we can apply it more to, I would say, older generations, like nowadays, and in even our generation, like we really had the privilege to choose. It became more and more of the norm, but I have so much compassion and really just respect for those that came before us, our parents and our grandparents. Like that wasn't available to them. It really wasn't available to them. They just had to go down the path that everybody was going. It wasn't very acceptable, and there would be very even harsh consequences for those that did deviate from the path. So we have been privileged in this way, but the bottom line is that it is our divine birthright to live authentically, to really, like, this is God placed a seed in your heart that is very unique to you, to myself, to everyone that is hearing us and listening to us. Is you've got a very specific blueprint and a very specific seed, that when that seed is not being nourished and not being fulfilled in the way that it was designed for your particular design, then that's going to bring about feelings of emptiness. And that includes all aspects of life, right? So the true hunger, and the great example is almost every person, I would say, can probably remember a time that they were either in a, just met somebody, they're in love all over from up to top to bottom, and they're spending time with that person. And it could even be like a really good, like you and I, Aline, like when I see you in person and we start hanging out, and like it's, there's so much love and there's so much exchange and connection there that you forget to eat. It's like, it's not even a thing, right? And we can, even when you are immersed in a creative project or creative expression, whatever it means for you, right? Like for me, it's like music and singing. If I sing with people, and I can be in a recording studio for a week with no break, and just maybe I need some coconut water, but other than that, it's like that. And this is just the best example to show just how much food is like this tiny piece of the puzzle when it comes to satisfying our hunger and satisfying or nourish ourselves. Because when we are truly nourished, then that emptiness disappears.
Ooh.
And so that food really just plays a particular role of like us trying to fill something. And it doesn't even matter what the food is, I really want to say, because I know most of the people listening here are fruit eaters or fruit lovers. So of course it's better if you reach for the watermelon than the pizza. Yes, no doubt about it. Like if we were to put dense food in our body, then absolutely have it be the fruits. But when we start refining and really elevating on this path, just like we were talking last week, then we really start observing the habits and the patterns when it comes to food. Like, why am I reaching for this? Even if it's an apple or a mango or whatever, is is it really like something that I need, or is like a certain emptiness that I'm not addressing? Am I fully fulfilled in life? Am I really nourished spiritually and emotionally? Because we are multidimensional beings, humans. And food is like a tiny speck that addresses the physical. And yeah, there's some energetic components to the food for sure. However, there's so many other ways in which we can nourish ourselves that are true nourishment, not just to fill a void.
Yeah.
Right. And so that hunger that we feel, as we call this, or the title that we gave for the episode today, is love. Ultimately, underneath it all, it's just love. And that love can be expressed in many different ways. And it's the love that our soul is asking to be recognized by us, by you, by myself.
So beautiful. Wow. What I'm hearing is that, and I've definitely identified with this void. When you talk about hunger, there's this feeling of like an emptiness inside that could be physical, or sometimes we think it's physical, but it's actually spiritual. It's actually, do I have good friends in my life? Am I doing things that bring me joy? And it's true. Like when we were children, when we were going out and playing with our friends, like we had to be called in. Well, I didn't really struggle with that. I remember always being hungry. I'm not one of those people like even when I kind of like celebrate with food, I'm one of those, like I tend to eat too much, and then in my anorexic days, I was definitely punishing myself because I was going through that distortion. However, I was lacking. I've always, since I can remember, I was lacking that sense of connection, right? So I always felt that void inside. I didn't feel very connected to even the people in my family. I didn't feel very connected to others. I always felt like I was an outsider, like people didn't really get me. And there was that void that I was filling with the food, filling with the drugs, filling with the alcohol. And it was like this bottomless pit almost, hence the bulimia, the binge and purge cycles, the too much sex, like over indulging in like relationships and men, and just going crazy with that because I wasn't feeling truly connected, not only to others, but to myself. So I was like seeking it from the outside and trying to like fill myself and fill myself and fill myself. And it was just like this always too much, this like always too much, when in reality, I needed less of that and just more of me and just more of like that stillness and that connection with myself and finding what really makes me happy. So everything you're saying is so, so right. And really this path has been one of like simplifying things and really like sitting down with and God, and like developing that relationship with God, having a spiritual life, having a prayerful life, being able to connect with a higher power, connect with the Holy Spirit, really, and saying like, okay, what do you want from me? How can I serve you? And being of service to the Most High, to me, has filled that void that I have felt inside, starting to believe and really developing my faith and being like, okay, I'm not alone here. Even if I feel alone, around people, the connection I'm really seeking is one with myself and one with God. And that's it. So, have I overcome all my food addictions? Absolutely not. But I have overcome addictions to drugs, to hard drugs, to alcohol, to cigarettes, to coffee, to even sex. I would say I consider myself a recovering sex addict. Like all these things have been I've overcome them, with my spiritual path, with developing real friendships as well, such as with yourself and, Jenny and Kaj. Like I have so many besties in my life. Like I literally have like amazing, amazing friends in my life, and great men as well, very good male friends that I love and adore. So yeah, that void is really, how to say, and it's interesting too, because I did have an ayahuasca ceremony that reminded me of this, and this really was brought home, where I actually saw like all the food. It was beautiful. It was like this carousel of food, and it was like candy and chocolates, and everything was just like swerving around, and it was like beautiful. It was so clear, and then the medicine like it was shown to me that it was like removed from me, and it was like, that's not what you need. That's not what you want. You're hungry for love. Like literally the whole title of the theme of our talk was in that moment was like, you're hungry for love. And I broke down because I didn't feel I really had true love in my life. Of course, I have like a very loving family, especially my dad and I are very close. But I think I was also blocking that love from coming in because I didn't feel worthy as well. So that's another thing too. You could be surrounded by love, and if you don't feel worthy inside, you're kind of not experiencing that love on that deep, deep soul level because you don't feel worthy of it. So feeling worthy of all those great things, feeling worthy of receiving that love has been really transformative. Mm-hmm.
Wow, Aline, that was such a beautiful share and very profound, that experience during the ceremony. Wow, yeah, very visceral. And what you just said at the end there, because the love that we are talking about, the worthiness, right? In order for us to even receive from external sources, because it's not about the love on the outside. It's not about, oh, do you have loving parents? Do you have a loving family? Or do you have loving friends? Because yes, many people don't even have that. They don't really have loving family and loving people in their lives. However, though, the worthiness that you are speaking of, yeah, that is at the core of what we are discussing here today, because the hunger for love is the love of oneself. I said it a bit ago, that it's the soul, it's your essence, it's you in this physical body, that spark of light, that inner child that we talked about it last week, that is constantly waving at you and asking to be seen, to be embraced, and to be loved. And that is the hunger. So when we start developing or redeveloping that relationship with that spark, which I see it as the inner child, they go hand in hand, that essence, that beautiful essence of your soul. When we start seeing ourselves for who we truly are, and we embrace that, and we have a close, intimate, deep relationship with it, then that's the love that we begin to feed ourselves. And the worthiness is going to match, or our feeling of worthiness is going to match that love that now we are giving ourselves. And it never stops. It's deposits in the bank account. That's what it is. It's your emotional bank account, that every time, there's nothing too small. Every single word, every single thought, every single action, just like we were talking last week, Aline, even with the food, right? Every time you say, you know what, I'm going to love myself through this, instead of beating myself up or choosing the loving action, whatever, changing the narrative, that is a deposit in the bank account. So what happens with money when you do, even if it's small, you do like $5 a week? Guess what? After a few years, that $5 a week it's a nice substantial amount.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes it might be $5 a week, and sometimes it's $5,000, because you're like, whoa, like you had a really major breakthrough.
That's
right?
when we go to the spa and like get a massage. Bonus points.
Right. So it's like every time it's like those deposit, and that's how we start unlocking that queendom and that kingdom. those keys. Yeah, and so we start filling ourselves with love and more love and more love and more love, and then all those other vices, their appeal decreases naturally. It just decreases. All of a sudden, yeah, you're not that interested in the drugs. Because even the choice, Aline, to say, you know what, I want to get sober and getting help, that's somebody claiming I'm worthy of this life and I want to live. So they don't, maybe in that moment of darkness, they don't know, but that's the soul force from within that is pushing that individual, that pushing that being into taking that step. And that is claiming, I am worthy of this life. I am worthy of God's gift to me. And right. So then you start becoming more and more aware of all those loving things that you can do. And the appeal of those vices or seeking, that's the thing. Like, why we do the drugs? Why do we do the sex? Why do we do the relationships? Why do we even do, business and work and get lost in that? Because on an unconscious level, we seek to be fulfilled. And that's why relationships can get very toxic, because it's just like two people trying to like get something from the other person. It's like, no, you got to bring two individuals that are whole and complete within themselves. Not to say that there aren't some wounds perhaps still present, because hey, we are human and we are moving through that. But when we've done enough to get to a point in which I'm whole and complete within myself, like I don't need Aline to fulfill anything for me. I'm just grateful to be in your presence and to have a connection and to exchange whatever we are meant to exchange. But there's no like seeking and I need something from you. And that just brings about a lot of toxicity and unhealthy relationships. Right. So when we don't seek for that from any external sources, if it's relationship or the job or the food, we just don't seek that anymore. So then it's a choice. Like, hey, do I want to play with you? Do I want to play with this person, or do I want to play with this watermelon? Or but it's coming from not to fulfill a void, because like you said earlier, it's a bottomless pit. That's the hungry ghost. And it's when you said to be fulfilled by the Holy Spirit, by God, to me it goes hand in hand with recognizing oneself, because God is here. You are, every single one of us is an extension. It's like a light frequency of that divine light that we call God. Each of us is going to experience it differently. However, it doesn't change the fact that each of us is an extension and a spark of that divine light.
Yeah. I really hope this, speaks to those out there who are struggling. If you have friends, if you have family, please share this with them. Please reach out to them and tell them you love them. Tell them, listen, I listened to these two beautiful angels today, and they've overcome so much, and I would really love, if I could share this with you, because that's really what we're here for. It's really to give hope to others. And you've done that for me, extensively, to show me what is possible, right? I'm a little bit stubborn, I won't lie. I don't really listen to many people on this. Like, I do not listen to many people, I think because I was born with a little bit, not a little bit, I've always been pretty intuitive of certain things. I could see, like, I could feel energies. And also I'm a Pisces, so I'm quite naive. Like, I've navigated through this life very trusting, very like, I love everybody. Everybody's kind. Everybody's this, like, I'm always surprised when like people let me down, or they cheat on me, or they steal from me, or like all these things have happened. And I'm like, how could people do that, And I'm not saying I'm perfect and I never make mistakes or what, but certain things just really have shocked me about people. And I've kind of recoiled into myself a lot, thinking like just negative things about humans, just thinking like, what is going on with this world? People that are like mass murdering animals, killing each other, raping, doing all these things. Like, like it is very difficult for me to be in this like reality. And so when I meet somebody like you who's full of love, full of light, full of hope, like showing me like honesty and authenticity and all these things, like it really helps me to feel safer in this world and to feel like, okay, there are really good people out there who are also on this path and a little bit further along the path than me, you know, because also like I started my plant-based journey 10 years ago when I was living in Belize. Like I didn't really have mentors. I didn't have any teachers. I just started on my own, not really knowing what I was doing. And I was already exposed to the pranic lifestyle, to the breatharian lifestyle. I met Taylor Budd, who now goes as Tao Lore. I actually met him in Belize by a stroke of, I don't even know what, like call it divine destiny. I was smoking weed and drinking and he was just like super chill. Like his energy was off the charts. I was like, wow, where did this guy come from? Like he's so different. Like there's something about him energetically that's very different. And he taught me about breatharianism and how we don't need to eat and all these things. He was still transitioning, you know, but he was like mostly on you know, breatharian. So anyway, like this was like 10 years ago. And so I've always felt a calling to this life and also a lot of fear around it, right? Like how can somebody go without food for any extended period of time, right? Even being on all fruit, you know, they're like, where's the protein? There's so much fear to be like dismantled and deconstructed in order to shed these layers, right? These belief systems, like letting go of the tofu was a whole shedding, you know, for me. Oh, I'm going to be vegan. I'm just going to eat tofu and beans and I'm fine, you know. And then there was like another level to that when I started juice cleansing and doing like 100 days on juices and thinking, wow, I'm drinking mostly fruit juices and I've never felt better in my life. Like, what's up with this, you know? So my mind started really shifting with those experiences, going 2-3 days without food, just starting my water fasting as well, and then going 23 days without any food and just being on all water. And I was like, how could this be? Like, could I really be producing everything from inside me that I need? Could I potentially eventually go longer, right? Once I've cleaned myself to a certain level, I wasn't ready at that point to give up food completely. However, I could see, like you said, the potential of what I could do as a being, as a spirit, as a, like I touched base with who I truly am. And then I got a little scared and I went back. But it's always been a progression of what is possible, the potential that I have. And yeah, my fears have definitely been dismantling. I'm eating all watermelon. I went I did 14 days last year. This time I did 9 days. I had a little food. I'm getting back on the watermelon. So it's like, what are we capable of? And then what happens too when we sit with those difficult emotions that do come up? That's really when you get to know yourself and you get to feel that hunger that lies beyond the physical, right? It's like, okay, if I've committed to eating only watermelon and I'm still hungry, what am I really hungry for? Because I'm not hungry physically. I'm not really hungry. I'm hungry for comfort. I'm hungry for stimulation. I'm hungry for connection, all of those things. So really looking into like what lies underneath of what we think is physical hunger is actually a lot of the time emotional hunger. And then if we journal, if we sing, if we dance, if we move, if we go ground ourselves, if we do something to move that energy around, we realize we're not hungry anymore and that craving does pass.
Beautifully said. Yeah, it's that's why it's a very much a path of mastery to in any given moment to discern. Because sometimes, yeah, the body might be asking for something, but it won't be asking for junk. It won't be asking for fried food. It won't be asking for any of that. It could come from a physical, like lack, like let's take a great example, right? Salt. Okay, that's the biggest one for majority of people, especially when you get on the fruits, because it's going to expose a lot of weaknesses of your adrenals, your kidneys, and you start craving salt. And on a physical level, many people are very malnourished. So the body is actually craving minerals. Because yes, the truth is we are all chronically living. And I have a YouTube video that I just recently recorded with Justin,
Mhm.
talking about the pranic journey and what you are speaking of. That it's all about the beliefs.
Mhm.
It's all about beliefs. It's not about your body is capable or not capable of living without food. It's what we believe in,
Mhm.
because you wholeheartedly believe that you need a tofu to survive, and
Mhm.
you've proved yourself that that's not true, right? So that is the process. It's not about the food. It's about reprogramming ourselves, and it's going to
Mhm.
look different for every person, and it's going to take as long as it's meant to take. So I think I lost you on the live in the group. Okay, I'm going to bring you back again
Come
here.
right back.
Cool, cool.
Sorry, I was just somebody was calling, and I wanted to. mm,
Okay,
There we
cool.
go. I'm right here.
So I lost my train of thought.
Oh no, the
Oh yeah,
belief system. We're talking about like what we believe.
yeah. What we believe. So it really is about just what we believe and reprogramming ourselves
Yeah.
to come to a place in which we just feel confident. And again, it's not a forced process or anything like that. It's not a forced process, and it's not about, again, the goal is not to become a breatharian,
Mhm.
but it's really recognizing and seeing who you are.
Mhm.
And then things will just align from that place. Right. And so even your experience, Aline, what you were describing about having particular experiences and people in your life, and then things changing, and you have deeper connections, or surrounded by people that see you more and you can actually connect more with, that is also a testament of your how you feel about yourself,
Mm.
because everything is a mirror. Everything is
Yeah.
showing us, well, here are some aspects of yourself that are still looking to be embraced and to be looked at.
Mhm.
So because everything is just a reflection coming to us, if it's a relationship, if it's an experience, no matter how painful it is, but that's the self-honesty. It's not to feel shameful or guilty about anything. It's just to have that sober moment with ourselves, like, okay, thank you for showing me this. And that's why a person walks into your life and maybe kind of rattles some things, and there's an unpleasant experience. It's just to bring something to the surface. So
Mhm.
it's always about gratitude. It's always about giving thanks to every single person, every single experience, no matter how uncomfortable and unpleasant it is. Because even when we choose, like, what feels better, gratitude or feeling like a victim?
Mm.
And I'm not saying that it's easy, but again, that's a muscle that we train ourselves, because we've been conditioned also to fall into victimhood
Mhm.
in our society. It's something that has been perpetuated,
Yeah.
the victim, and the one that is doing something to me. And we condition ourselves, just like we reprogramming ourselves to know, oh, I can live on just juice, I can live on just watermelon. We program ourselves to know everything is happening
Mhm.
for me, not to me, for me and through me. So my soul has orchestrated all of this. For what? For what reason? Is for
Mm.
me to grow, right? So now I also remembered what I started talking about with the mastery path, when we actually can tune in when the body's asking for something, right? So I was talking about the salt, when people crave that, and the body's actually asking for minerals, right? So I started saying that it's correct that we are pranic living beings, and we don't need as much food or any, but it's a process. It's a
Mm.
process. And the thing with minerals, and that's why many people kind of claim that salt is the greatest things that God has ever invented, is because it's a conductor. Salt does carry connectivity,
Mm.
right? And that's why people feel so great. It's a stimulant as well, no doubt about it. It gives your adrenals a kick, just like caffeine, so you feel good. But there are consequences to that. But salt does carry some medicinal elements to it. And it helps the body to, or it helps with the level of connectivity in the body when the body is dehydrated. So we don't need to go to the salt. We just need to increase the hydration, and we need to increase the electricity, the life force in the body, so there's more connectivity. So many people go to the salt to do that. But again, there are so many consequences to that. And then 10 years later, you find yourself with all kinds of issues. So we don't need to use all those stimulants in order to get to a state that is available to us through nature. That's why the fruits are so wonderful, because they do they have everything in that package, right? But just to recognize, like, when you are on this journey, and it is a learning experience, we learn and we grow, and that's why it's important to have mentors or coaches or being part of a community, that somebody with more experience.
Yes.
Ultimately, it's your intuition. However, though, we can be exposed to information and kind of feel into ourselves and, like, you know what, that actually hits home for me, that my body is asking for minerals, because most people are very malnourished, because of the GI tract is in a dire state, and there's so much lymphatic stagnation in the body that even though you might be drinking the green juice or eating the things that are high in minerals, but your body's not absorbing it.
Right. Mucoid plaque.
Precisely. Yeah. So in our society, many people just want a quick fix. Like, okay, so give me the salt. But it's going to bite you in the ass at some point. That's the thing. It might not be immediately. It might be 25 years from now. But hey, in 25 years from now, I'm going to be like up in the heavens, like in the greatest health and shape of my life. So, but for majority of our society and the way we've been trained to live and think is like, oh, just a quick fix. So I'll reach for the salt, I'll reach for the coffee, I'll reach for whatever. And it is about the inner work. It goes hand in hand with what we're talking about. That is like, what am I actually hungry for? Because that is going to open up the door. Like all the things that I am lacking, that I'm not, or not lacking, that I'm not giving myself, that deep inside I've suppressed. Like, do you really want like soul connections, but you don't have that, or you want to pursue a particular soul calling that you've shoved in the closet? There's so many people that they want to be an artist, or they want to be a musician, or they want to be a health coach, but they're not doing it because of all the conditionings that we were talking about. So the health journey is going to open up the door to self-honesty. Radical self-honesty. Where am I not fulfilled in my life, and why? And again, all with love, like, because it traces back to some sort of a trauma or a program that was installed in your consciousness when you were 5, that you were like singing and dancing, and then your father told you can make money doing music.
Yeah.
But no, it's something in those lines. We all have a different version of that. So the whole idea of liberation, right, again, is like to be free of all of that and to follow your unique path so you can truly be fulfilled. And then you'll enjoy eating just the fruits, or the hunger won't be this insatiable pit that is looking to be fulfilled, that no amount of food and no amount of durian and no amount of anything is going to fulfill that.
Wow. Those beliefs are strong, though. A belief that could be instilled in us at such a young age can really have an impact on a whole lifetime. One comment, and it's a good lesson too, to be mindful of the words that we speak to our children, to to our friends, to the people around us, to know that, of course, we're all responsible for our own healing, right? And we also have a big impact on people's states of consciousness. So definitely been a journey for me to just be more mindful of the words that I say, because certain things really did affect me. I'm not sure if you're able to answer this question, and I don't really want to put you on the spot or anything like that, but it's a question pertaining to Breatharianism that came to me this week. And I just feel called to ask it. If you don't have the answer, that's okay too. We didn't really discuss this ahead of time, but I would like to explore this, because a lot of our viewers who may be tuning in for the first time may have never heard about Breatharianism. Please check out Queen Noa's video that she did also with Justin last week, 2 weeks ago. It was really, really good and informative. And the question that came to me was, why do we have a digestive system in our body, and why do fruits grow on trees? And I'm sure it's not the first time, maybe you've heard it, but why do the fruits grow on the trees? They're so beautiful, they're so appealing, they're so inviting, right? If we are to eat anything, if the fruits, like we say, that we need to be eating, and why the digestive system? Are we really not supposed to eat it? Or why are we designed this way if we're biologically pranic beings?
That's an awesome question, and of course, it's a question that came up for me as well when I just started going down this rabbit hole. And I can't say that I have all the answers, but I can share my intuitive knowing about that, and even my own experience. Is that, number one, there are several answers to this question, but number one, just like we've been conditioned about many different things about life and this body and what we are and what we are not, that even our organs, they have a very different function than what we've been told. That it's like, the digestive system is, yes, it's the digestive system, but what if there's a different frequency to it? That there's a different, another, not either or, but there's another function, just like with notes. I'm a musician, right? So in music, you have notes, but you have scales, different octave to the same note. It's the same core root note, but there are different scales to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So same thing applies to our organs, but they actually have different functions based on that particular vehicle that it's in.
Wow.
So it's gonna sing a different song. It's gonna align itself to a different tune, a different note. So what if there's another function to the digestive system that, because it's constantly burdened by digesting food, then it doesn't really have the space, the energy, and the room to do anything else. It's just like, and you can apply it to an individual. Like if you were to work, Aline, at 9 to 5, like many people, 6 days a week, and I constantly just throw tasks at you, you're not going to have the time and the energy to do anything else. Or maybe just okay, I can do an hour on Sunday. But it's a big difference between 1 hour on Sunday or 80 hours a week. So that's number one, that because of how we've been treating our body, then the other function of our organs, and not just the digestive system, but all the digestive organs, like the liver, the pancreas, the spleen, the gallbladder, all those are magical organs that have different notes and different tunes that they are able to produce if they had the space and the energy to do so. So it's and this is actually the process when there's a process of transitioning into what we call breatharianism. That's part of the process when we start tuning in to our organs and actually feeling and finding, oh, there's a different tune here. There's a different function. So that's number one. Number two is that obviously the species we know ourselves to be as humanoids, there has been some sort of I don't even call it evolution. It's more about like we came from being light beings,
Mhm.
not necessarily from on the earth plane.
Mhm.
So what you're talking about having trees and the fruits and everything correct on the earth plane, that is here. And I'll get to that in a moment. But we, and those are the memories that we have as Breatharianism, or you call it that, but it's, we were in different suits, you can say, in light suits that didn't require that physical food.
Right.
And we kind of descended into what we know today as this human vehicle.
Mhm.
But the light body is still existing within this physical body, and this is the whole idea of the purification, of the regeneration, of really remembering who we truly are, and reminding ourselves, you are light. And that's the process, because it's many years, ages of this devolution that has occurred.
Mm.
We've descended into these carbon-based dense physical bodies.
Mm.
So it's not either or. It's the light body that exists within this carbon body. And the process of what you said, like getting into the pranic state, is basically just, you still stay in a carbon-based body. It's not like you're going to disappear into golden dust. But you start functioning from that light body and less from that dense body.
Mm.
Okay? So that's number 2. Number 3, correct. We are on this earth plane, and nature is our mother, and she gives us everything that we need. And all these beautiful fruits, if we were to consume something, she
Mm.
put all those fruits for us,
Mhm.
which is also one of the reasons why we do have digestive system, that if we do consume something, that we're able to process it. You know, because evolution, or God, the creator, is very, very smart, intelligent. Like, okay, let's give them teeth, let's give them all the things that they need, that if they do get tempted to enjoy the mama's bounty, that they can process it.
Mm.
All right. So it's not either or. All those things are valid. And I want to remind everybody also that birds enjoy the fruits as well.
Yes.
Like humans also like believe that everything that grows on a bush or on a tree, that we got to put in our mouth.
Mhm.
That's another thing. Like, there are other creatures that actually enjoy those fruits just as much.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but yes, again, it's like the bounty of nature is here for us to enjoy when we choose to do that. And so the physical vehicle, as we know it, the biological design of this body, is here to support that if we do consume the beautiful fruits.
Mhm. Mm.
So that's the multi-layered answer I have for that question.
I love it. Thank you so much for that. That was such a powerful explanation and intuitive downloads, because those are definitely some questions that have been coming up for me. And it's navigating that realm. But yeah, this feels very true. This feels very true that we have the choice, right? Just like how God gives us free will over anything, over drinking alcohol or not drinking alcohol. We don't, I guess to a certain extent, we can process the alcohol. It's not really good for us. I guess it's not really the same as fruit, but we always have a choice, right? In terms of like to consume or not to consume, and really the path of breatharianism. And I love, even Ray Mayora, I've been following him for a while, and he says, the path is not just to not eat, is to know that you don't need to eat, right? And it's like accessing that level of knowing that you will be fine without it, and should you partake in it, you can, like, you have the choice, right? But to have that experience that it is a choice, right? And so like already that is, it could baffle so many people, right? It's like, no, I need to eat. Like if I don't eat for 2 hours, I get faint and I'm dizzy and I want to pass out and all these things, right? And that was me. Like when I used to eat meat and potatoes and all those things, I'm telling you, like I couldn't go 5, 6, 10 hours, 12 hours without food. And contrary to, I guess, maybe popular belief, right? The less we eat, the less hungry we are over time, right? The less of those like big hunger, those hangry pangs. Like I used to get hangry, like somebody feed me, like I am going to pass out. So to those who may be on this path, who are listening to this, oh my gosh, what chronic living vegetarian, like these chicks are nuts. Just know that, like you said, it's a journey of detoxification and purification till you come to a point where all you want, mostly what I want is fruit. Sometimes I still have those other cravings. And really what I truly, truly feel the most nourished and the most vibrant is on the fruit, right? But this has been like a journey of detoxification. And so now, all this to say that now I could go much longer stretches without having any kind of even dense food at all in me, and going for a long time just on liquids or on water or on fruit. Like that feels good to me. I don't feel at all like I'm depriving myself. If anything, when I do go back to those old foods, that's when I don't like the word punishing, but I feel the symptoms of those foods on my body, where before I thought that I was needing those to survive, right, and to live. So it's just been such a beautiful experience, and I'm so grateful to have a wonderful teacher such as you. Like I am so grateful. Thank you so much for everything that you share with me, and for this beautiful it's very enlightening, to be in your presence. And I always have these aha moments with you where things start to click into place and make sense. And I guess because of my, I don't want to put a label on myself either, but I am neurodivergent. It's not easy for me to like watch videos on YouTube. Like I lose interest quick, in many different things. So for me personally, to have these interactions, these one-on-one interactions where I'm like fully engaged, fully involved, fully present, is allowing me to really absorb all of this information so much more, on a deep level, where I'm like really receiving it. It's so different than to watch somebody's video where I could be like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and that makes sense. And I just feel so lucky to be able to be like one-on-one with you, and to receive your wisdom and your downloads and your transmissions. It's really like a transmission that I'm getting. I'm really getting like awakened and coming on live with your help. Ooh, on live. It's like a combination of online and alive. I'm coming on live.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes.
I'm coming on live.
We just came up with a wonderful word.
Yes, we did.
Add.
We did.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Thank you. This is always an exchange. This is always an exchange. There's always giving and receiving happening, synergy, and that's what life is about. This is our true nature. It really is, that every exchange, when it comes from a soul place, from a heartfelt place, very intuitive. There's no agenda. There's just nothing. There's just pure presence. And then that pure presence allows the divine sound and light of God to flow through us. There's no thoughts. There's absolutely no thoughts. It just comes from a very pure place of love.
Yes.
So yeah, again, going back to the whole breatharianism, I mean, that's the one thing I have about, yes, it brings things to people's awareness, and sharing the information, and people get exposed to it. I mean, that's how I got exposed to it. However, though, it creates this, again, like there's a goal. And I even fell into that trap. Like, oh, okay, so now the goal is to become a pranic living being. Now
Mhm.
the goal is to just, I don't eat food anymore, you know, and and even a lot of quote unquote teachers out there is like, let's do a 9-day process to, breatharian process. 9 days? What are you talking about? I've been in the process since I was 12. When I decided to stop eating meat, like when you
Yeah.
really realize what, like, and I'm not saying that everyone is going to have the same process, because for some people it can be like a very quick awakening in that way, and they actually don't even go, they can go from like standard food to no food in a relatively short period of time. They don't have that like progression of letting go of the meat and then letting go of the processed food, and like for some of us, and myself included, it has been that,
Mm.
and then being established in the fruits and then going into the liquids, and then slowly moving into the direction of less and less and less and less. So it's really important to, number one, recognize and know that every person is going to experience it differently. Number two, it's not everyone's journey in this life. Number three, it's not a goal. It's not the end goal. If you feel that there's a truth there in your heart, like you said, Aline, when you met that dude in Belize, and you were in a completely different chapter in your life,
Yes.
but in your soul, that seed has been planted.
Mhm.
And that's why you magnetized that being into your life. Or do you think it just came from thin air?
He
That
was the
was,
cousin. He was the cousin of one of my friends. And he was there for a few days. And he goes, hey, oh, she goes, oh, hey, you're vegan. My cousin's vegan. You guys should meet. And we just met, and that's how it happened. I'll remember that day forever. Going to pick him up on that dirt road in my little tracker. You know, it was just like how. And I always wonder, like, how did this even happen? You know, how did this connection? It was just. I must have manifested this, but I wasn't really into the whole manifestation yet. But I was starting to be aware of the power of my thoughts, and I even manifested my then fiance, you know, to like come into my life. I was like, ooh, I like him, I want him, and he like came into my life just like that, you know. And so yeah, it was really interesting to start witnessing that at that point, that I was creating my reality. Mm-hmm. Sorry, not to
yeah,
cut you off, but yeah.
that's amazing, because this is the hand of God, like Dr.
Mhm.
Moore speaks about. I love Dr. Morris for many reasons, but one of the reasons why he is like my number one teacher, not to say that I agree 100% with everything, but he's been my number one teacher, not because of like the fruits and the herbs and what he teaches about detoxification. It's his spirituality. It's
Yes.
his level of awareness and consciousness that most health educators in the field
Mhm.
are not even
Mhm.
close.
That's true.
Not even close. Not to put anyone down or anything down. Everything is valid and perfect and beautiful. For me, Dr. Morris is like on that high level of consciousness, and that he recognizes what this reality is, and he speaks about the hand of God. You just sit back and watch the hand of God orchestrating your life. But
Mhm.
that hand of God is also moving through you.
Mhm.
And the more aware we become of it, the more conscious we are of it, the more intentional we can be and work together with that hand of God.
Mhm.
Right. And that's where meditation is the foundation. We were talking about that last week.
Mhm.
And Elitam, that
Yes.
he's very big in the pranic living community. He has a very grounded approach to the whole thing. And I really appreciate it about him. He always says, it's not about the food. You're not going to put the tape on your mouth and stop eating. Meditation is the foundation, which I equate to what I teach is love is the foundation. And then meditation comes from that place of love, because when you love yourself, you want to give yourself the things that make you
Mhm.
feel good,
Yeah.
which is also related to what you said earlier, Aline, the whole enjoying fruits more, or, choosing the juices, choosing this, choosing that, is because, again, the bank deposits that you've been making throughout your life, you love yourself, you love yourself, you love yourself, you have more self-worth, and you also start to value feeling good. I don't want
Mm.
to feel shitty. I really
Mhm.
don't want to feel shitty. So I mentioned this last week, where it's not a choice anymore,
Mhm.
meaning that you shift to a place in which it's just so natural to choose the things that actually bring you joy and fulfillment, and that you literally feel good in your body. And the thought of like feeling like shit, waking
Mhm.
up in the morning, that alone one makes you cringe. But that's the journey that some of
Mhm.
us need to be on, like doing it again and again and again. The overeating, the binging, the eating the shit, even if it's even if it's overeating on bananas, whatever. Like overeating is overeating. It doesn't matter what it is that you eat. It burdens the system and it becomes poison. I know
Mm.
that I've poisoned myself with durian many times. Yeah, I was very aware, like I can't stop. It's like it's such a drug, right? So, but that's the reality of things. Like anything that we overdo burdens the system, and then you don't feel good. And the memory of that, once you love yourself enough, you're like, I don't. It's not worth it. Like I really do value feeling freaking awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm.
And I want to say also some of the comments here that are really
Oh, you
great.
think I'm not seeing any comments?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They've been coming. Chess Tree. She's
Mastery,
saying,
hey, Chas.
She's saying, gratitude, ladies. I realized my why hasn't been aligned with my true self. That's
Aw.
really beautiful. That's really beautiful. I'm really happy to hear that. Yeah, and Faith made a cool comment about like hungry, that
Uh-huh.
we are literally telling ourselves we're feeling an emotion of anger, not necessarily a
Mm.
bodily hunger to fill, because it's like, yeah, it's like angry with an H in front of it. Yeah, yeah. When you start making those connections. And there's a comment here from Kapil, and he said, because I do want to comment on this, because you can't put sugars under the same umbrella, different sugars. I believe too much sugar in diet, fruit or otherwise, makes me hungry. Mostly processed or sugary toast, breads, especially. Exactly, because there's a
Mhm.
big difference between processed sugar or complex sugars, like the
Fruit.
breads and things like that,
Yeah,
and fruits. Fruits are not in the same category as breads and toasts. The
yeah.
reason why a person might react to fruits is because they have, well, number one, such a systemic fungus in their body, candida. Their adrenals are not functioning well because of the ingestion of so much crap prior, that we need to get the body back into balance first, and then a person can actually deal with the fruits excellently. It's a case by case, but there's definitely, we have to have that distinction.
Mhm.
Bread, pastas, potatoes, cooked carbs are not in the same category as fruits. And even
Right.
within fruits, even within the fruits themselves, and that's why it's an art, there's distinction between watery fruits, heavier fruits. Somebody
Mhm.
that might have sugar issues, to begin with, they might need to avoid things like bananas or dates or heavy,
Yeah.
denser, high in sugar fruits. And
Until
that's
they could
why,
process them.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mother Nature is so brilliant in that way, right? Like she did create this vast variety because it's all medicine. So sometimes you
Mhm.
need the watermelon medicine, sometimes you might need the orange medicine, sometimes you might need the grape medicine, sometimes you might need the durian medicine, and your body will speak to you because each fruit has its own consciousness and its own energy, and it knows what it is that it's meant to bring into your body, and your body knows that that's what is needed right now.
Absolutely. I feel like I always need durian medicine.
Oh my god, that's probably gonna be one of the it's gonna be a sad moment for me, I tell you, when I eat durian, and I already know that because I had, when I left Bali, that was how many months ago, and I haven't had durian
Mhm.
since then, and I already know that I won't be able to
Oh.
eat. Well, I won't be able to eat as much, which is not a
Yeah.
bad thing, but I just don't know how. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it still, but it's just gonna be different,
Yeah.
and it's okay. I mean, whatever. I've already.
Wait for me.
Yeah, no, I'm still going to enjoy it, unless something super radical happens and I'm like
Yeah.
completely free
Yeah.
of food like next week. But yeah, again, we're going back to those emotional attachments for sure. It's a big one. It's a really, really big one. Food carries so much around it, and it is part of this human experience, and to enjoy it, as long as you want to enjoy it,
Yeah.
really is, just enjoy it with mindfulness and enjoy it with full awareness
Hmm.
of why I'm choosing to consume what it is that I'm consuming. And again, it's not even just the what, but the how much.
Hmm. For
The how
sure.
much. Yeah.
And always making that loving choice based on where we are in our lives as well. What is the highest frequency choice? It could be a salad. It could be cooked lentil soup. It could be a baked potato. Like wherever we're at in our detox process or in our journey, love yourself right there and make the right choice for wherever you are. Not everybody's ready to be like 100% on fruit or things like that. But for some people, just giving up the cheese is a big deal. So just meet yourself there and make that right, that a decision that feels the most aligned with your self-love, as you can in that moment. Um, so if you would like to, I do have to wrap it up for today, but definitely want to mention that we have our November retreat coming up in Bali. So please stay tuned for that. It's an immersion. It's much more than a retreat. It's a whole experience. Myself and Queen Noa, we're going to be doing this in Bali in November. So please stay tuned for more information. It's going to be so juicy. We're going to really, help you to tap into your divine essence. It's going to be all about like that self-love and the nectar of life, which is the love, which is rediscovering who you truly are, finding your purpose, finding your voice, finding that stillness as well in one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I'm super, super excited to collaborate with you, and I cannot wait to do this and to invite people in our sacred space, our sacred circle, to drink juice, eat fruit, fast, a little bit of silence. It's really going to be a beautiful blend of so many different practices. Practice yoga, meditation. The
Yeah,
dream come true.
the the link or the landing page will be up probably by the end of this month. And
Okay.
so all the information will be there, and we'll be able to share more, and the dates will be finalized by then as well. So yeah, stay tuned. And yeah, we had a delay today, so I know you need to go, and I super appreciate
Yeah.
you, Aline, always and in
Thank
all ways, and
you.
everyone that tuned in. Oh, I love you, Faith, so much.
Aw, Faith,
Yes.
love you, girl. Love you so much, Queen.
And everyone that is watching the replay later, if you want to say hi or leave a comment, and if you have any questions about anything that we've discussed here today, then please leave that in the comments. And I know both Aline and I are on it, and we'll come back to see it and
Yeah,
answer anything. So thank you all so
definitely.
much, Aline. Thank you, my love.
Love you so much. Thank you, beautiful. Love you and love you all. Thank you for tuning in. And this will also be available on YouTube for you to be able to share far and wide. All right. We will see you again, hopefully next week. I think we will be doing these weekly. So we'll definitely keep you posted with our next one. If you have any themes or any questions as well that you would like us to share about, please reach out and let us know. And we'd love to explore those more. All right. Love you so much. Peace. Peace, everybody. Love you.
Keep it juicy.
Yes. We have to, and 2 live streams, one here and one on the phone.
That's the way to do it, babe. Like this